What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Bobby Five back with my man Eric Sheets-Haber. We are doing an MLB DFS preview, and we're going to go through some DraftKings lineup builds, talk a little bit about FanDuel and everything going on, but we are ready to jump into it. Sheets, how about you?
Yeah, sounds good. It's all right. The hitting today is pretty it's pretty spread out. I think it's going to be kind of tough to land on a team, but I think that's good because you know what? When again, this is kind of like DFS theory 101, right? So if you can't settle on a team, you can't settle on if the guys are close. You go with the guys, I guess, combination of lowest owned with highest upside.
Right.
Sounds great if you can get it. You know what I mean? That's obviously the theory, but we'll see. We'll see if we can actually make it work.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Let's go game by game. Why don't you call up a screen and we'll.
I think I did already.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming up. It'll just take a minute to get the actual build together.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I think we're starting off either way. I'm pretty sure the DraftKings starts off with it's Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, or Cleveland. I'm sorry, Tampa Bay, New York, or Pittsburgh, Cleveland.
Let's just pull up real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have Tampa, New York, and it's not. I guess it's not time yet. But is it time to play Blake Snell or not quite?
I think we can. I don't like. They only let him pitch 5 innings last time, and he pitched like 70 pitches. But he has been moving in the right direction. On this slate, it might not be the right thing to do. But I might get like just a tiny bit of tournament exposure to him. I'm going to wait to hear about pitch count before I make any big decisions.
Okay. So that was my only comment about the pitching in this game, and honestly, I wasn't. It's kind of gross. I don't think I was getting to either of these teams as far as bats go. What about you?
Yeah, not particularly interested in the bats. Meadows and Lau would be my favorite from Tampa Bay, and then from the Yankees, you could play the righties. Frazier might be a decent play. Like I'm just not really into it. I think it's too big a slate, personally.
It is definitely a big slate.
All right.
All right. So I guess we can just move on, right?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, so Cleveland, Pittsburgh, you get to one of the pitchers that are in play, and that's going to be Carlos Carrasco. He is actually not my favorite play, either on DraftKings or FanDuel, but he's going to be in my player pool. I make him right now on DraftKings. I kind of make him tied for Snell. I want to do a little more homework on that. But I have 2 guys that I have higher than him. But he certainly is going to make my list of players, pitchers. He's got a lot of talent, got a lot of upside, and all that kind of stuff. And I guess I may as well finish off the game in that I do like the Cleveland bats in this game. So the usual suspects. I mean, I'm looking at Ramirez. He's expensive, I guess, at 5,400, but he's a freaking beast. Santana, Lindor. Those are my top guys. But you can play other guys. You can play Oscar Mercado if you want at 3,500. But I think that Cleveland is one of my 5 or 6 teams. What's that?
I'm not sure if we'll see Mercado today.
Okay. Maybe against a righty. I'm not sure. I mean, he's against a righty. Sorry, maybe we won't see him.
Yeah. Okay. But I do also I have some interest in Tampa. I'm a little concerned about this spot because the run total is high, but we have like a guy, he's older, he's 26, but he is one of their better prospects. It's not like, I don't know if this is as much of the smashy spot that everyone expects. So my plan is to be overweight on the guys I really like. My favorite play is Franmil Reyes. He's red hot right now. I've seen this guy go through these streaks before. He is a guy who absolutely crushes right-handed pitching. He's a righty who crushes righties. He's had all 5 home runs this year against righties. 30 of his 37 home runs last year were against righties. He's hit 3 home runs the last 3 games. He's, got 7 in the last 12. Let's play Franmil Reyes. He's the priority play for me. And right there with him, Jose Ramirez and Lindor. That's the way I like my little 3-man. And if you want to add one of the other guys like a Santana, or you could even add just like Sandy Leon if you need a cheap catcher. That's sort of the route I would be thinking about with these guys. I don't mind Nate Quinn or these guys, but I'm not so excited by the bottom of the lineup.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
So I was gonna have any interested pits. Well, what do you think of Carrasco, by the way?
Oh, I like Carrasco a lot. As of right now, I've got him as my top pitcher, but it's not by a ton. And I feel like Pittsburgh has been like sneaky good against decent pitching and actually not striking out. But their lineup, well, it looks a little better with like Polanco back and getting healthier. But I don't think I think that there's also more strikeouts in there because of that. So I actually like Carrasco.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait. We're going to talk about these other some other pitchers and stuff. We might, I don't want to say debate, but we'll have some other guys to talk about. Okay, so Mets against Miami is the next one I have on my list here.
Yep.
And I don't know. I mean, is this Peterson dude any good? I mean, I don't know if I'm going to need to get to him, and I don't even know if you even need to be attacking Miami anyway. I mean, anymore. But I guess not. I'm not getting to these guys. I really have. I guess I was stretching, just trying to find something to do.
I don't think that much of a stretch at all.
You like Peterson a little bit?
Well, I would if he had a different umpire. You got Mark Wegner behind the plate, which is one of the few umpires we actually have out. Oh, not that. We actually have a few more than that. But he's one of the worst. He's one of the biggest hitters umpires in baseball. Doesn't help a guy like Peterson, but so I'm not very high on him. But I would have understood it otherwise. Like, he's been, double digits all of his starts. You can get 15 fantasy points. You'd be happy with it against Miami. That shouldn't be that difficult. So I'm okay with having a little bit of him. I just am not going to go crazy with it.
You interested in any of the Mets lefties here?
I like the Mets a little bit as a stack, although I hate usually stacking in Miami, even though it would have worked well yesterday, I think. But there's just other stacks that I probably prefer a little bit better. I think that Cano is really – look, I don't care what people say about hot streaks. They're whatever. They happen.
He's been doing great. His swing's good.
Yeah, he's really on fire, and he's one of the guys who I would prioritize at second base if I was going to spend up. And Pete Alonso, Ramos, Nimmo, McNeil, Conforto, those are the guys. Even Dominic Smith, I could see putting in your stack. But I'm just not like overwhelmingly in love. If they open the roof and the ball could carry a little bit, I'd be more into it. And like guys like Alonso, doesn't matter that much to get so much power, but I just would like to stack other games on a giant slate like this. Although I don't mind this one.
Yeah, I did not get to Mets in my stacks.
Yeah.
I just figured I would ask.
Cano's the only guy I have above like what would be a stack number, like an 8 to 10% type of thing. I have Cano like 15 to 20%.
On the other hand, not yet. Okay, I'm getting to that game in a minute. So Seattle Dodgers, DFS is rough, man, because obviously we were all over the Dodgers yesterday. We knew that done. I didn't think he'd make it out of the third inning. Whatever. The Dodgers were extremely patient as usual. I saw Bellinger with the bases loaded 3-0. I didn't think there was any way he was taking that pitch, but he's very patient, man. They just take, and when you need a chalky stack, it's a little frustrating. You want to know the truth. I think it's exactly the opposite of how I feel.
Yeah. I don't like stacks of teams that don't – if you can't keep the lineup moving, if you can't make pitchers have to pinpoint – the reason the Dodgers kill everyone like this and why everybody who comes to their team hits better is they're sandwiched by all these great hitters. So they have to the pitchers trying to locate constantly, which just leads them to leaving the ball over the plate or miss. They're missing it. If they keep walking them, they can walk them. If they keep it over the plate, these guys are going to hit it out of the park.
All right, so I like the Dodgers again. I didn't get to either of these pitchers. I don't know if I'm ever going to take a pitcher against the Dodgers. To tell you the truth, unless of course we're playing Robbie Ray or Matt Boyd or Patrick Corbin or any of these lefty slider pitchers or whatever it is. Maybe on another slate I might be interested in Gonzalez, but maybe I don't think I'm going to do it today. And I think we've had this discussion about Marco Gonzalez before. Maybe was this one of those guys that you thought that wasn't that bad? Maybe, but I'm still not going to be talked off of some Dodgers here. So I guess my top guy again, you've talked me onto them every single time. Is Pollock. I mean, he's freaking still under 4K. Chris Taylor gets in the lineup. 3,200. They can make this work. Why shouldn't they let Kiki start after hitting a home run?
I don't understand why Kiki's not playing more anyway, but that's a whole separate story. But
yeah, so you can get a pretty affordable Dodger stack out of these guys if you get Pollock, Taylor, and Kiki, for example, in the lineup. You could do a lot of stuff with this. So this is definitely on my. I have like 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 teams I'm highlighting, and Dodgers is one of the top 2 for me.
Well, here's the problem that I'm running into, because I like them too. First of all, we have an excellent pitchers umpire tonight, which is not great for the stacks. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to keep me off of it, but it's just important to know. As an obvious chalky stack against a pitcher who I think is actually kind of good.
Okay.
It kind of feels weird to me. But this team can destroy anyone, and they do have some really good splits. Like, I just think it's interesting. Like, of the 4 home runs Marco Gonzalez was allowed this year, because he pitched against the Angels back-to-back games. By the way, he put up 27 and 25 in those games. So he was pretty damn good. He struck out 13 over 13 innings and gave up only 6 hits. 4 of those hits were home runs. Those are the only home runs he's given up all year. 2 of them were to Trout, and 1 of them was to Rendon, I believe. I'm not going to hold that against him forever. And they also were all solo home runs in those games. He's not a guy who's been giving up these monster games, and we've been having this conversation for years, because he's had to face Houston. He's playing in the AL West. He's had to face, teams that had good righties, and the Angels. But it just never seems to quite work out the way you want it to. And I think this Dodger lineup is way better than all those other lineups I said. But this is one of the greater lineups I've seen. I mean,
yeah, but like I said before we even talked about the slate. I mean, I have like 6, 7 teams that are all close, and the Dodgers are going to be chalky. I agree with you.
But I don't know if they're going to be as chalky as we think. Like, nobody's going to play Bellinger and a lefty-lefty at 5.6, I don't think.
And it's tough to pay 61 for bats, I suppose.
Yeah, I love Pollock personally. I mean, look, I can keep singing this guy's praises all year long. If I can say anything I've been right about this year, it was definitely Pollock and Seager. These guys are ready to play. You know what I love about Pollock, though, even more than anything? Every time this guy he goes out there and he does something. You know what I mean? He might get a couple hits, but he's always going to go out there and steal you a base then. You know what I mean? Like, he just does everything. I just feel really good about him. I love him against lefties. He's the one I'm siding with the most. But all of them obviously in play. Obviously, if you can play Mookie Betts, if you can afford him, that's phenomenal. He's, the priority. But you can throw Austin Barnes into your stacks. It's just – I will have Dodger exposure. Don't get me wrong, especially to Taylor and Kiki are cheap, and even if they're at the bottom of the order, they're also probably maybe they're not going to be quite as high owned. But Seager to lefty, you might get overlooked. I guess you can play that. That seems like an interesting way to go. And Seager's just red hot right now. So also he's playing against his brother. He wants to show off in front of his brother. So anyway, I'm into the Dodgers, but might not be quite as locking them in as you ordinarily would be. And also, I do think I'm more looking at 2- and 3-man pieces more than like a full stack, just because I have a little bit of respect for Gonzalez. Although I think it's maybe the worst bullpen in baseball behind him. So take that for what you will.
Washington, Atlanta. I'm not interested in either Austin Voth or Josh Tomlin, but I am very interested in the Nats bats, specifically obviously the lefties and the switch hitters. But so just to put them in here, Adam Eaton at 3K, Juan Soto, he's expensive, but who cares? Where's Cabrera? Cabrera, want to make sure, I'm not sure exactly what position to put him in. And then also you could play Thames, whatever if you want, but other guys I like, I don't know if Kendrick is he's hurt, whatever. We'll talk about him. And you could always play Trey Turner. So I think that Washington is again one of the top 6 or 7 stacks for me. And again, depending how ownership comes in, I think they're very, very logical.
Yeah, with the pricing, I have interest in what might end up turning into like little mini stacks, but not overly interested personally. Soto's so expensive. If I'm going to pay that high, again, as much as I said all that stuff, I still would rather have Mookie. Tomlin's probably just going to pitch a couple innings. You're going to have a bullpen game. On giant slates, I just think there's usually better places to stack. I don't mind any of these, but it's just not my favorite. So Luis Garcia is really cheap. He had a home run last night. He's 2.3K. Adam Eaton got bumped all the way up to 3K, so he's a good play. And then you could play Turner and Soto. Like, those are the guys I would look at, but I would probably look at, again, maybe 2 or 3 instead of a full stack. Another decent pitcher's umpire in this game, by the way.
That's really good to know.
I do actually this is not going to be – okay, so this is interesting. This is not the slate I'm going to do it, but this is a time where I might have actually taken a stand in the past on Austin Bach, because the Braves are quietly one of the highest strikeout teams in baseball against right-handed pitching, which is –
wow.
This is a damaged lineup that's missing 2 of their best hitters. They do get Matt Adams back today, which is not going to help. It's going to hurt. It's going to make it even more strikeouts, but it also makes their lineup stronger. So I actually like Matt Adams a little bit. I'm not going to play much. I'm like, look, I'll throw him in like a lineup or 2, maybe not even that many, maybe not 2, but I don't think I'm fully stacking against him either. Obviously, Freddie Freeman, as always, against any righty, is one of the top plays on the slate. It's never gonna change, especially at home with that hitter's park. And then you're going to have the absolute chalk again, and for good reason, at catcher in Travis Darnell. And it's going to be hard to make arguments against him though they raised his price up to 3K. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever why he's priced where he is. It's even more ridiculous than when Sal Perez was. So as standouts go, Freeman, Adams, and Darnell, you can't really stack with that because they're both first basemen. You could try it on FanDuel, but I'm not that in love with the stack. So personally, for me, it's mostly those 3 guys with a tiny bit of Ozuna, but it's not going to be, the priority here is Darnell, unless, not barely. We're talking about a guy who, I think he was only 58% owned last night, but I thought he was going to be like 90%. I really thought so.
Yeah, but it's baseball, man. It's
not for a catcher at 2.5. He was 58% owned.
I don't know, man. I mean, you go for 4.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, catcher. It doesn't matter.
I guess. All right, so Philly, Boston, man. We could get some hitting out of this game a little bit. I didn't get to either Godley or Eflin, and I'm kind of intrigued with both sides of the hitting. Again, just this possible at least 1 off or 2 offs or 3 offs to get in here. So I'm going to start with Boston against Eflin. Again, this is very, moto type stuff, but let's go with Rafael Devers at freaking 4,400 against him. And then even if he doesn't get a good lineup spot, we put Verdugo in at 3,400 as a lefty. I know you don't like to play this guy maybe as much as I do, but Moreland always hits a home run whenever I play him.
I do so many good first basemen. I don't like playing platoon first baseman at high price.
Okay. And I don't need to play Pilar, honestly, but he's very cheap, 3,100 as a righty. And then if you're going to do this, I mean, certainly you could always play JD Martinez, but I think the Red Sox are good. You could certainly play the Red Sox, these types of guys. And the Phillies are gettable also. I mean, I don't know why they're going to get a lot of ownership, I guess. I don't know if I'm going to play chalky with the Phillies, but the normal guys over there too. So
I don't think Harper, be that chalky. How are they going to be chalky though? Like what I can't understand is because the prices make it so weird to try and get him. You know what I mean? Like they bumped up guys who like Rhys Hoskins hasn't hit a thing since last year, and he just got bumped to 4.9. Didi's 4.9 now at shortstop. I think this is like a FanDuel stack. Like, Alex Baum is the only thing you're getting discount on. Yeah, FanDuel hasn't priced. They haven't actually played like how they've been playing. So I would probably look at doing this on FanDuel, not so much on DraftKings. But I do like Philly like a little bit. I mean, I don't dislike them. I just think that the prices are making it kind of weird.
What about the Red Sox?
I like Zach Eflin.
Oh, you do? Interesting. Okay.
I don't understand why people don't like. I'm just still freaking confused. I don't understand where these projections are coming from. I don't know if it's early in the day and just everybody's going to figure this out by the end of the day. But you have the highest K possible upside for a low price guy. I just don't get it. And these guys suck. These are not right. They need good. You know what kills him is good lefties. So you're right. Actually, Moreland would probably be the best play on the Red Sox, but doesn't mean I need to play him. I might have him in like a lineup or two or something like that, just because I actually do think that he would be profiled pretty good against a guy like Eflin who gives up massive power to lefties. But and then you've got Verdugo, who I like quite a bit. But I mean, if you want to get into a stack and you can play that, you could definitely do that because this guy will give up power and he can get wild. But in terms of upside against the lineup that doesn't have a lot of scary lefties, it's hard not to have a little bit of my interest in Eflin. So I like a little bit of both sides. Not a ton of the Red Sox bats. Like, I'm not going crazy with them, but I don't mind a stack. JD, you can always play. Bogarts, obviously. You can always play all of these guys. It's just, I don't know. Personally, I'm going to get some shares of Eflin because I think that there's upside here. I'm not buying this Red Sox team still. I've seen better stuff out of them lately. But overall, I just think I'm going to take shots like this when I can in baseball. You got a guy who it could be a situation very similar to Matt Boyd last night. You give up a few home runs and get 17 fantasy points. I'd be thrilled with 17 fantasy points, 6,900 on this slate, Plus his team has winning.
I got to do a little more research on this one, on Eflin.
I'm not saying it's a great pitcher or anything. It's just saying
remember we played him. I played like a ton of them against against the Yankees last. I don't forget who I played him against. I played him it's a much tougher team than this.
Yeah. But the Yankees and then in Baltimore, people were like, "Oh, he's getting lit up." I'm like, "Well, he struck out 10 guys in 6 innings and had 20 fantasy points, and that's good by me. Yeah, I'll take it."
Right. Okay. Let's carry on. Cincinnati's Kansas City. I didn't. It's just so weird.
You didn't have that one.
I didn't even have this on the slate. That's because I didn't know who was pitching. I didn't know if it was going to be is it going to be Bauer or is it going to be Castillo?
Well, I have Castillo, and whichever one it is, you want to play that guy.
So tell me about this. I didn't like any of the hitters from this. So you think that?
Yeah, Castillo's just a really good pitcher. He's got great strikeout upside. He has already faced this team, which is really weird because they're both obviously in different leagues. But I never liked that too much. But he did face. He opened his season doing the same thing with Detroit back to back. Kind of unlucky a little bit for Castillo, but I still like him enough. I think he's got upside. I think he's got strikeout upside. They hit him. They got a lot of hits off of him last time. If he keeps control in order, he could easily be right there with help me out, Carrasco at the end of the day. So he would be the guy I'd look at just after Carrasco.
It's so funny. The Reds seem to play always like in the day, so I never I'm never used to these guys pitching in the night slate. And then this is what happened. I had Bauer listed, and so they moved to Castillo. I didn't work on it. So I gotta look at this a little more because there are other guys I like. So obviously, if either of these guys are pitching, so I guess if Castillo's starting, he's certainly going to be in play. I just have to do a little more work to see where he would fit in alongside some of the other guys. But certainly makes a very, very short list of pitchers. Yeah,
and I think that I actually think Brad Keller is in play. I don't think I'm going to do it, but another cheap, if you wanted a cheap arm, I'm worried about the strikeout upside. Also, he's coming off of a matchup with the same Cincinnati team, which we're going to keep seeing over and over again. So I'm not in love with it. You know what I mean? But I do think it's actually probably going to rate out to be a decent per dollar play.
Right. Okay.
No interest in the bats for me, but I do think that I could be talked into some Cincinnati guys. I just don't think that I just am focused on elsewhere right
now. Okay, so when we go to Detroit, Chicago, now again, I'm so terrible. I totally didn't even think the Bauer Castillo thing because my two favorite pitchers, one of them are in another game and the other one is in this game. So I love Dylan Cease in this spot. At 8,500 against Detroit. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I think he's, again, I don't know if he's going to make it now. Maybe. I think he might. I have to see what I think about Castillo. But Cease, along with with Darvish later, is probably my favorite pitcher on the slate, DK-wise, and FanDuel also. So I do like him a lot. And I did not particularly love the White Sox today. You can always talk me into them, obviously, but they didn't make my. Actually, they are in my top 6 or 7, so they're going to be one of them that I'm going to get to. But I don't think they're going to be low enough owned. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how it goes. If in fact you do like the White Sox, it would be Abreu, Tim Anderson, same crew, Elroy, Jimenez, Moncada, Encarnacion. We don't play Grandal in this spot, or we do?
I never play Grandal against the lefty.
Against the lefty, you don't play him. Okay.
I don't know how long
Roberto also. So it depends on their ownership. I just presume they'd be chalky, but yeah, they're in my list.
I don't have any idea how long this guy's going to pitch. He might pitch one inning. So I literally have zero idea. I actually haven't done hardly any research on him yet because it's so early in the morning. The natural inclination would just be, look, if Tim Anderson plays, I swear, I've seen this story too many times. If the lefty's starting, for some reason, this guy, I feel like every time he leads off with a home run, then hits another one.
It's crazy, right?
Is he like the most underrated player in baseball? He led the league in hitting last year, and like no one ever talks about this guy.
Because the White Sox are terrible.
But they're not, though.
I know, but they were. You know what I mean? Like they're just.
But everybody talks about, like, everybody knows who Jose Abreu and Moncada is. It's just interesting to me. Tim Anderson's the priority play here. I actually, I'm always going to have interest in the White Sox against anybody who I don't really understand who they are. So I need to do more digging on Skubal. I don't really know much about him, to be honest with you. We jumped over here. The natural thing would be this White Sox team has a bunch of guys who profile incredible against lefties. I know he hasn't been the same, but Encarnacion at 3,900 nobody played him yesterday in another decent spot. I think we got to just take shots with Encarnacion while he's super low owned at a really cheap price. This is a guy who crushes lefties. We saw Nelson Cruz go through a stretch where he didn't do this, for a few months a while back, and now look at him. He's pretty much the best hitter in baseball at the moment. So all of them are the answer to the White Sox, unfortunately. And even Mazara, getting creative with a guy like him down who's got power at the bottom of the order. We don't think Skubal will be around very long. Danny Mendick hit a home run last night, man.
Yeah, sure did.
2.5K, that's good enough for me. You know what? That sample size is good enough for me. One home run ever, that's good enough for me at 2.5K. But he is no joke. But if you're going to play a White Sox stack, I don't mind him being a part of it. I don't think I would use him as like a one-off because there are other cheap bats out there. But certainly you could include him. And Luis Robert's really has been struggling. But until did he win last night? He might have.
Not sure.
But anyway, but all these guys make some sense. I'm just not like over in love with it. I would prioritize partially because of price and ownership. I like Abreu and Encarnacion, but the best one by far would be Tim Anderson.
Okay. Moving along, right? I don't like. Oh man, you're gonna like my aren't you? I don't like Kenta tonight. He's not going to make it for me.
But he has the same thing going that C's had, just to want to point this out, where they're facing the same team back-to-back. So why don't you like Kenta against this team?
Because I think Milwaukee's just better than Detroit. I don't know.
But no, I'm just asking because he just pitched against them and he was very good.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I mean, I just didn't I just didn't.
Yeah, you just didn't get it.
I guess he's fine. I like Castillo certainly better, and I like Carrasco better. So you can talk to me about Maeda. I do this every time. I say, okay, this is the time I'm really not going to play Minnesota, and then I say, okay, why am I not playing Minnesota? I guess Milwaukee's kind of a tough team to go against, right? When you want to stack. I mean, they're starting this guy. This was that guy that came in late, right? That long reliever guy from a couple of slates ago, where we played him at you know what I mean, coming out of the bullpen. Is that the same guy?
Corbin Burns?
Burns, yeah.
Yeah, who's actually.
So it could be another bullpen game. I don't know. I think it's a weird feeling that if I stack Minnesota, they're going to get 3 runs in this game.
Corbin Burns has got phenomenal stuff, by the way.
Oh, okay.
You can look at his strikeouts numbers this year. It's pretty actually incredible. He got 24 in 14, 15 innings? That's pretty incredible. He's not going to pitch that long. I mean, you're not talking about playing him, but he could. The strikeout upside is actually probably enough to where you could consider him if he was like 5.3 in this matchup.
Right.
I still think that you want to, let's keep it simple. First of all, I am going to play Maeda, I think. I think that I'm not in love enough with the other pitchers. I think that as far as he and Castillo go, I think that they're really close. That's all I've got for you. But maybe Castillo gets a little bit of the edge.
Who do you like more between Castillo, Maeda, and Carrasco?
Carrasco.
Okay.
Carrasco's always good. He's just the best pitcher of all of them. Like he can walk and he can get you lit up and all that stuff. I'm just highest upside pitcher without a doubt is Carrasco. Let's see. So yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from with not wanting to stack Minnesota. I'm definitely not playing any Milwaukee bats. First of all, I think that the guy. It feels weird. It does feel weird not to play them. You're just gonna play some Kepler.
Just Buxton and Kepler as usual. That's it.
No, you can't play Buxton. I don't want to do the Buxton one-off thing anymore. Like I like him as a stack thing. But he'll probably hit a bomb tonight. I would say Rosario, Kepler, Polanco. That's what I would look at. They do have lefties in the pen, so you could argue for the righties. It's just overall, I think it might be the one night of the year where I'm not playing Minnesota.
Okay.
If I somehow find myself with 5,800 left in the outfield spot, I'm definitely going to throw in Nelson Cruz, though, because this guy just hits home runs every day.
All right. In the last game, obviously you got to get me a wind update, but failing that, Darvish Darvish is a tremendous play. He's really expensive, but he could put up another 35, 40 fantasy points, whatever. So certainly have to use him. I don't know where ownership's going to play in, but he's probably my top pitcher on the slate. Excuse me, I still have to look again at the Castillo thing. Sorry about that, but just whatever. But Darvish looks tremendous, and I don't like either of the hitting from this game.
Yeah, so I think the weather is. I'm just gonna guess it's blowing in based on the run total, but I'm not sure. We just check that out later because I'm trying to call this up right now. Let's see. It's yeah, I think Darvish is a really good play. If the price is high and normally against his lineup, I would have some fear. So it really is all down to weather, which I guess I can just check. I've got so many screens pulled up right now, I can't even get to it because because of how they do it on certain sites. I have to stretch out my screen 500 times over just to be able to see the last games. So now I have to go to a different set of screens. Hold on one second. While I'm talking about that real quick, Sheets, anybody who you like on the Chicago hitting side?
No.
That was really easy. Let's just see real quick. It depends on, again, I'm looking at the wind here.
We'll check later, but obviously the wind's blowing.
I'd like to know just to give the people like what my thoughts are, because it does make a difference enough to where I can, you know what I mean? Like,
I got you.
At least say something. I'd hate to not give them anything.
There's actually a site like Wind Weather at Wrigley or something like that.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like it's blowing in 9 miles an hour, about 20% home run suppress rate, about a 6% run total suppress rate, and the ERA drops by about almost 8.5%. So
some good options today at pitching, man, between Carrasco and Castillo and
that makes Darvish a better play. God darn it.
Darvish, but they're like three guys that could throw 35 fantasy points up there.
Yeah, my original plan was to skip Darvish today, because I like the other guys enough.
But you can though.
But I don't know if the wind's like that. It makes it harder.
But whatever. But he's had control issues before, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm. It's been a while.
But hell, it's not like, but it's not like there are no other options.
Yeah, I just think I might end up thinking he's a better option than I originally wanted. Les Diaz is the umpire, who's generally a slightly hitter's umpire, not a huge difference, but I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, I like him. All right, real quick, we got to get out of here. So let's go through the pitchers real quick, and you pretty much made it pretty clear how did you end up sort of siding who's where on your pitching list?
I don't know about Castillo yet. So for me, it's Cease. I'm going to put them all, given ownership, I think I'm going to put them all equal between Cease, Carrasco, and Darvish. I'm not going to pay down for any of these guys, so you can talk to me about these others. But
yeah, now that I look, I don't think
Cease, Carrasco, and Darvish, and then Castillo is probably going to be in that mix of four. Nothing fancy for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at let me see where I'm at here with this, because this is weird. I've got so I like Carrasco the most, but I also am now starting to come around to Darvish, because those are pretty big numbers right there. I like Maeda, but again, maybe you don't need to go pitch against a better team. But that team has been striking out more than any team in baseball, so it's still kind of interesting to me. I like Castillo, but I'm nervous about the back-to-back against the same teams, because he's run into tough spots with this before, and the strikeout rate might not be quite as high here as maybe the other guys have an option for, even though he in general is a higher strikeout pitcher. So it's kind of tricky with him, but I have him and Maeda about the same right now, actually. Eflin and Cease would be the bottom guys for me. I'm okay with Cease, but I don't have as much love for him as you do.
My six favorite, I have 7 teams I'm targeting hitting wise for now: Phillies, Dodgers, White Sox, Washington, Toronto, Cleveland, Boston. And I have them all pretty equal. So whichever comes in at the lowest ownership, that's probably where I'm going to end up going.
So I am not in love with a ton of these stacks. And we skipped a game by accident earlier, which was Toronto and Baltimore.
Which game?
Toronto and Baltimore.
Yeah.
So just to make this clear, I have some interest in the Toronto, right?
I do like Toronto as one of them. I just mentioned it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I don't want to stack Toronto. I just want to take a couple righties.
Okay. That's like Vlad and Biggio.
Biggio's lefty, but yeah, I would take Vlad. Vlad would be – I mean, Biggio's okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Vlad, Grichuk. Grichuk hit a bomb in a double last night for me, which was nice. Gurriel would be the other one. And then we don't have what's his name, because he's hurt. So we won't have that. Yeah, that's pretty much most of the guys for me. I think we're going to see – well, it depends on who Teoscar Hernandez. Depends on who they announce in the lineup, because I don't know if Travis Shaw is going to play, and he's listed in there. I don't know what's going to happen with those guys. So wait till their lineup comes out. But Grichuk and Guerrero were the priorities. Gurriel and Teoscar just behind him for me.
All right, sounds good, man. I think we're good to go.
Yeah, real quick, my favorite just individual hitters. I don't have a stack that I am completely committed to yet, which is kind of unlike me. Like I'm sort of iffy on all of them. But initially, the top play is Travis Darnell, Pollock, Anderson, Reyes, Kepler, Jose Ramirez, Lindor, Seager, Harper, Turner, Guerrero, Cano. All right, guys. Hey, good luck to everyone out there. For Sheets, I'm saying, hey, good luck, kill it in basketball, and then kill it again in baseball. We'll talk to you guys soon.